And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, that was John's butt. Don't think you want to look at John's butt. This is John right here. He heard something outside and he popped his head up and started looking toward the door. And now he has his head resting on. He knows I'm thinking I'm talking about him. Let me get that light out of the way. Okay, this is a restaurant review. Actually, I'm going to review two restaurants. One we went to, when did we go? Day before yesterday, right? Yesterday. We went yesterday. And today we went, is that, I can't really tell how blurry this is. Sorry for having to look up my nose, but, so, yesterday we had Japanese food. Oh, I was in heaven. Today we had Chinese food. At the Chinese restaurant, they gave us Japanese chopsticks. Some people may not realize it, but yes, there's a difference. Japanese chopsticks generally are round. Chinese chopsticks have flat sides. Or should I say, well, round would be what, like one side, so a flat chopstick would have multiple sides. Don't ask me why they give Japanese chopsticks at a Chinese restaurant. It doesn't really matter anyway, because I think Japanese chopsticks are easier to use, to be honest. Tokyo Express, Keene, New Hampshire. Oh, I'm gonna have to go again. I kept trying to get my wife to eat sushi. She wouldn't do it. Now, I don't like fish, okay? I cannot stand fish. I will not eat fish. But I'll eat sushi. And now sushi, of course, is the rice. And then you put sashimi on it, I guess you could say. Now, the sushi I had was, I had 2 sweet shrimp. In a restaurant that I used to go to in San Antonio, Texas, Tejas, they presented it a little differently. But they're different kinds of restaurants. I would say this is more family style, which is nice. It's very reminiscent of my childhood. Well, the restaurant in San Antonio was a little more formal, you might say. So I had 2 shrimp, 2 sweet shrimp, 1 uni, and 1, how do you say, inari? It's, with the, it's tofu skin. And then you stuff the rice inside of it. I was hesitant about the uni. To be honest with you, I was hesitant because I cannot remember if I ever ate it before. I probably have, considering there was a lot of uni on Okinawa, and I don't know if it's still proper to say mama-san and papa-san and baby-san. When I was a boy on Okinawa, everybody was papa-san, mama-san, Mr., Miss, Mrs. When you're a child, you speak to adults in a particular way. So, and I'm sure at one point or another I knew how to say things in Japanese that I don't know anymore. It's been a long time. I mean, you live on an island like Okinawa, you're going to learn, you're going to pick some stuff up, eh? So anyway, so I had 2 sweet shrimp. I had the tofu skin. I had the uni. Thought I had another one. I did not get the cucumber sushi. I totally forgot about it. Because that's actually my favorite sushi, is cucumber sushi. My wife probably wouldn't eat that either. And it's just, what? Oh, she can't believe I ate it. Yeah, because I don't eat fish. I won't. I will catch a fish and throw it back, although I've never caught a fish in New Hampshire. But this summer I'm bound to catch one, eh? So, I had the beef sukiyaki. I forget the name of the soup that I had. It was a clear broth with mushrooms and scallions. I had the marinated octopus salad. But I ate more than that. Okay, I was eating some of my wife's food. Um, I shouldn't be laughing about this, but her meal came with a salad. Okay, and I don't know what the dressing was that they put on it, but it was good. Yeah, it had it had fish eggs in it. Um, uh, I liked it though. I mean, you know, so she didn't want to eat that. And I can understand, most Americans probably would not find that palatable. They probably would not like that. And to be honest, because, the last time I ate at a Japanese restaurant was at Niki's Tokyo Inn in San Antonio, and that was years ago. Actually, we're talking like 20, 30 years ago. Maybe 20, 25 years ago. So, now, again, Niki's was a little more formal, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Maybe traditional. I don't know. I have a cousin that probably would be able to explain these things far better than me. I know she could explain these far better than I can. I just found something on my desk. I don't know what that is. It looked like a baggie, but that's not what it is. Like tape. Anyway, I just noticed that. What did you had the teriyaki? Beef? Yeah, she had the teriyaki beef. It wasn't as much of it as I expected there to be. Did you like it? She liked it. She liked it. And she had steamed rice with hers. It came with a bowl of steamed rice. As a boy, when we go to restaurants or I eat at friends' houses, there's this bowl of rice. I don't know how they do this, okay? You have the bowl. It looks like you take a bowl, you put the rice in it, and there's like sorry about my nasty fingernails, but it's like you take a bowl of rice, you take another bowl of rice, and you put it on top. You know how it has a mound over it. I remember that. I mean, I saw that rice. I was like, oh man. I remember that's how rice used to be served. On Okinawa, anyway. I don't know about other parts of Japan. I have no idea. Actually, there's an article. The oldest Japanese skeleton ever found was found on Okinawa. It was found, of course, in a cave. There are caves all over Okinawa. I don't know about Japan. I don't consider the two places one country, but for sake of argument, I've never really been to Japan. Right? I mean, I've been to Japan, but it was mainly, changing planes or something. Although there were times we went there, but for whatever reason, I just don't remember it. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that wonderful food. I was going to start talking about other Japanese food, like the food at the in the malls. Well, not a mall. It wasn't a mall. It was a department store in Okinawa. Had a Ferris wheel on top. They had an anteater up there. Yeah, and a camel. I forgot about that. Somebody shared a picture on one of the Okinawa groups that I'm in, and there's a camel. Poor thing, and poor anteater. But I thought the anteater was so strange looking. They are strange looking. But you're driving down the road, you see this building, and there's this Ferris wheel on top. But now the sukiyaki. Okay, my favorite part of the meal was the rice and the sushi, mainly the sushi. And they have it. They um, decorated the plate with 2 shrimp heads, which I started to eat from, believe it or not. Um, but to me, the sushi was the best. Um, and I meant to order rice for myself, and I forgot, but that's okay because I was stuffed. I actually, my understanding of Japanese culture, I could be wrong, is you're not supposed to leave anything on the plate. That's considered rude. But we were at a restaurant. I was trying to eat as much of each item as possible. So, John, when you get that sleepy, your head just falls down, huh? Yeah. You see him there? See his ears? Um, but, yeah, I would definitely go back. The sukiyaki, it was good. It was good. Not really what I remember, because sukiyaki is usually cooked at the table. It's prepared at the table, and this wasn't. But it came in like a cast iron bowl. I mean, it was a lot of it too. I'm not talking about a little bit of food. I mean, I could not eat it all, and I brought it home. There, we had a container about from here to here, and it was almost completely filled when she gave it to me, like a doggy bag. Of course, I ate it that night. Um, yeah, I didn't. I'm not going to let that go to waste. Um, so Nikki's Tokyo Inn gets 5 out of 5 stars from me. 10 out of 10 stars from me. Um, add on some extra stars for the sushi. The shrimps, the sweet shrimp, wasn't as good as the rest of the sushi was. There was another sushi that I got. I got 3. 4. Can't remember now. Anyway, I thought I got 4. Maybe those shrimp heads were confusing me. Maybe I thought that was, because I did think that was something that it wasn't. But oh, and mind you, I've been using chopsticks since I was 3 or 4 years old, roughly. So I know how to use chopsticks. I have a cousin who seemed surprised that I was using them so well. I'm not saying I'm an expert, because I'm not, but I can use chopsticks. My wife, she said something about the rice, and I took my chopsticks, and I think she was asking, how do you eat rice with chopsticks? So I reached over and I got some rice with the chopsticks and ate it. But see, I learned to do that as a little boy. Okay, and I have tried to make sushi. I no longer have a mat or any sushi knife or anything. But I'm not good at it. I'm a long way from good. I'm so bad at making sushi that somebody who knows sushi would die if they saw what I do. Literally, they would die from watching what I do. They would go insane. They would have to be committed for life. And that's how bad I am at making sushi. And I don't have a wooden sushi bowl. And John's about to knock a bunch of stuff off, aren't you, boy? I'll put that over there. That'll help. I really liked it, like I said. He's looking out the corner of his eye because he can see I'm doing something. So, now I don't remember is it China Walk, or what's the name of that place we went to tonight? Hon? What's the name of the restaurant we went to tonight? Oh, I don't know. I have to look, so I don't want to give the wrong name for it. It's not on the Common in Keene, but like two doors down, or one or two doors down, off the Common, across from the courthouse. And I have what I always have at Chinese restaurants: Kung Pao shrimp. Okay, I love Kung Pao shrimp, rice, spring rolls. When we lived on Okinawa, actually. Oops, socks, it's okay. When we lived on Okinawa, y'all get to see my beautiful torso. When we lived on Okinawa, my mom took a cooking class, a Chinese cooking class, from a lady who had escaped from communist China. And this is the cookbook. You can see it is well worn. And don't step on the keyboard, socks. This is socks. Now, if communism and socialism are so great, why do people want to escape those things? So anyway, so my mother learned to make spring rolls. She learned to make the wrappers and the filling. And our chaplain, his wife took the class as well. So my mom and the chaplain's wife, I'm not going to say their names, took even though they've passed on, I'm not going to give names, but my mom and the chaplain's wife took the class together, and they would spend all day in the kitchen. They would make the wrappers, which is not easy. I mean, I guess once you get the hang of it, it's easy, but and then the filling. And what you want to do, if you're going to freeze them, is you freeze them before you cook them. I cannot stand spring rolls that have been cooked and then frozen. They are nasty. But Kung Pao shrimp, I guess, it's like a cliche. If I go to a Chinese restaurant, I'm going to eat Kung Pao shrimp. I do like shrimp and crab, lobster, scallops. I don't like clams or oysters, though. But so 2 Asian restaurants in 2 days, and you can imagine I'm in hog heaven. I would like to one day, actually, you know what? I got my wife a gift certificate for something. And one day, maybe when she goes to turn that gift certificate in, while she's doing that, I can go over to Tokyo Express so I can sit at the sushi bar. Now, I've heard different things from different people. Some people say the only thing you say to the sushi chef is you give them the order. That's it. Other people say, well, you want to have a conversation with the sushi chef. So I don't know what the etiquette is. I have no idea. And I do want to say one thing. On Okinawa, as a boy, I was a child, and children are children. It doesn't matter your skin color, what country you come from, where you were born, your language. That doesn't matter. Children are given sometimes are given a lot of leeway. Or, it's understood, number one, that they're children, and they don't know things, they don't understand things, and they're still learning. So it's possible that I made many cultural faux pas on Okinawa, but I was corrected, but nobody got mad at me about it. It was because I was a little boy and I was learning, and I was basically torn between two cultures because although I'm from Spain, I'm Spanish by birth. Um, Okinawa was really when I first started remembering things. I do remember some stuff before Okinawa, mainly when we went to visit my dad's family in Canada, and I have one memory of Virginia. But before that, I don't remember anything. Um, so by the time we got to Okinawa, I had been introduced to Spanish, English, German, Serbo-Croatian, and then on Okinawa, Japanese, Ryukyu, and probably other languages. I have no idea. Um, but I loved Okinawa. I would love to go back. Actually, somebody had posted something earlier, and this happened the year we left. Um, because when we lived there, it was the American dollar. That was the legal currency on Okinawa. But when people refer to it as Japan reverting back to Okinawa reverting back to Japan. Okay, just personally, I don't see it that way because there were a lot of Okinawans that did not want that. They wanted independence. They did not want to be a part of Japan. They didn't want to be a part of the United States. They wanted their independence, and to this day, I support that. There were some that wanted to be controlled by China. And the post that somebody put, there were some communist protesters on a particular day when the emperor's son, the emperor's son had gone to Okinawa to visit. It was like the first visit since the war or something, or the first visit ever. I don't remember exactly. And somebody threw a gas bomb. Everything got canceled. Everything got canceled. So, I think it was the emperor's brother or the emperor's son, but I'm not sure. And now I forget the proper way to say it. It used to be Emperor Hirohito, but since his passing, they have another name for him, like the Emperor of the peacetime, but not in the English. But I prefer, if that is the proper way to address him, then that's how I want to address him. So the most polite way I can say without, since I don't remember that, is to refer to him as Emperor Hirohito. I think he was honestly an amazing man, because I think that he was in a position to prolong the war and he did not. And he showed humility that very, very few people in his position would have the strength to show. The fact that he got on board that ship in front of MacArthur and all those other people and signed that treaty, that surrender, that took a lot. That really, really took a lot. And I will also say this. My dad, I always wondered why my dad spoke Japanese. Well, I know why he spoke Japanese now. And there were two reasons. One, he had been stationed there before. I think northern Japan. But he had friends that he grew up with who wound up serving in the Japanese Navy during the war. So a combination of family by blood, family by marriage, and family friends served in U.S. military in World War II. World War II alone. The U.S. military, Canadian military, English military, German military, and Japanese military. 2 Axis countries, 3 Allied countries. Come on. Mrs. Sox, she's steps on my keyboard. The others are a little more gentle, except for Miss Maggie. Maggie is like the queen of the house, so if she does something and you correct her. But anyway, so I'm getting into some other cultural stuff and whatnot. And I just want to say that Tokyo Express, Key, New Hampshire, excellent. I will go back. And yes, I made it a point to leave a larger than normal tip. That's how good it was. That's how thankful I was that I had some Japanese food numero uno, numero dos, that it was good. I was actually very suspicious. I have seen this restaurant in the past, and I'm like, do I really want to go in there? I thought it was owned by Americans. It's not. It's a Japanese family. It's a Japanese family that owns the restaurant. That makes a big difference to me because, like, I like to make Tex-Mex. Of course, I lived in Texas for 44 years. But if you're from Japan and you come over here and you open a restaurant, presumably you know what Japanese food is. I've been to Mexico. Was not enthused by what I saw. Very, very, very poor country Mexico is. I knew somebody in college who had family down there. He will not talk about what happened. He will not go back because he got arrested. He spent the weekend in a Mexican jail, and he won't talk. And this is a guy. This is a guy who spent several years in prison in Texas. And he won't talk about what went on in Mexico, and he won't go back. So, but, I've been to Mexico. I've had Mexican food in Mexico. Not at restaurants, but with families. And it's good. Okay, it's good. But, people, they come here, and all people want are enchiladas and tacos. Well, that's not exactly Mexican food. I don't know, enchiladas maybe, I don't know, but I never ate them down there. We had vegetables and fruit and meat dishes. There wasn't a whole lot of meat, but there was a little bit. At a restaurant, you can go to a Mexican restaurant in Mexico, and you might be able to find some, Tex-Mex food. But if you come from Mexico and you open a Mexican restaurant and you serve the authentic Mexican food, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of customers. People want that Tex-Mex, southwestern cuisine, and not really Mexican food. There is a Mexican restaurant, I think in Brattleboro, that I have been told is authentic Mexican food, but every time I've gone by, it's closed, and it actually does not look like it's still in business. It's a little place, of course. In Vermont, everything, taxes sky high, rules, laws, regulations. So, smaller the building, presumably the fewer taxes you have to pay. But I love Japanese food. I would love to go back to Okinawa. My bucket list includes going back to basically every place I've lived. In Spain, Germany, Okinawa. Texas, I would like to go get some food. I have a daughter down there. I have a sister down there. So yeah, I'd like to see them, although I won't get into all that. But I would like some puffy tacos and gorditas. But let me compare the sukiyaki. I didn't get the sukiyaki at Nikki's Tokyo Inn. My mother did. But they came to the table. It's a hot pot dish. They came to the table, they prepared it at the table. And they didn't do that here, which was interesting to me. But Nikki's is a whole lot more expensive. And when I got my octopus salad at Nikki's, it was really, really small. The salad at Tokyo Express was not small. Of course, my wife was like, how can you eat that stuff? Now I'm sitting there with the chopsticks, picking up pieces of octopus tentacles and eating it, although I think it was more than just tentacles. But it was good. It was good. So if you ever have the chance to try Tokyo Express in Keene, New Hampshire, I highly recommend them. If you're used to more sophisticated, more formal type of Japanese dining, you might not like it. I don't know. For instance, when you order a drink, it's canned. Okay, I mean, they don't serve it to you in the can, but they open the can, put it in a glass for you, and serve it at the table. But I found that, so it's more, there were restaurants on Okinawa that were kind of similar to this. There was nothing formal about them whatsoever. You just walked in and you ordered your food and you sat there and ate it. And there's all sorts of etiquette. There's chopstick etiquette. I don't remember chopstick etiquette. I was actually, I won't get into all that stuff, but there's all sorts of etiquette, rules of etiquette, and I don't remember them. Okay, and some of them I probably never knew. As an adult, I would be like, well, if I'm going to go to an ethnic restaurant, I don't want to be rude to the people, so I might, like if I was going to go to a Turkish restaurant or an Egyptian restaurant, if I knew in advance, I would look it up, and I'd like, well, what sort of food etiquette do they have? I shouldn't be twisting my head like this, but I would look it up just because I want to be polite. The same way if somebody came over here and oh geez, I don't know. Oh, and they also did not have the hot towels. They did not. When you eat sushi, they put a hot towel there. They didn't have that. Maybe if you ate at the sushi bar, but it's a small restaurant. It's not a very big restaurant. It's a small restaurant, and it's off on a side street. So, and yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been by that place many, many times, and I just thought that does not look like the kind of place I'd want to go into, and then I go there, and it's fantastic. Yeah, my wife just said the people were nice there, and I told the lady that served us, I said, when I was a little boy in Okinawa, that I used to watch the ladies go down to to the water and pick up sea urchins. She kind of smiled, half smiled, Oh, and at the Chinese restaurant when we were leaving, there was a little boy in there, and I walked over and I kind of leaned over because he was eating with a fork. Well, my wife eats with a fork, but sometimes, with all honesty, when I go to a Chinese restaurant, sometimes I do eat with a fork. So I can't really, complain about other people not doing that. But I leaned over and I told the little boy, I've been eating with chopsticks since I was 3 or 4 years old. You can learn too. And I think he was kind of shy. It's like, I don't know who you are. And his mama said, that's in Japan. And that socks right there. If you, I'm gonna, before I go there again, and it probably could be a long time, very long time. I'm going to make sure I know proper sushi bar etiquette before I go. Although it's very informal there, very informal. So maybe I don't need to worry about that. I mean, there was this girl sitting there. I think she was studying her books. I'm not sure she actually ordered anything, and she wasn't even there very long. Oh, she did? Oh, okay. But she had books out there, so there's a college in Keene. Actually, I think there's more than one, but there's one big one. And I looked online because I was looking at the menu online before I decided to go because I wanted uni sushi, and they have uni. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, uni is sea urchin, and there are different parts of the sea urchin you can eat, and there are different types of sea urchins. And although I've told this story in other videos, I'll tell it real fast. When I was a little boy, there was a village across from my nursery school. You couldn't really see the village because it was there was a little pond. That's John. Oh, I don't think you want to see his butt, but John, you want to say hi to the world? No, he doesn't want to say hi to the world. There was a little pond, and there was a cliff with a waterfall, and so the village was kind of like my nursery school would have been here, and the cliff would have been here, and the village was kind of over here. And for the life of me, I cannot find out what that village was called, and it's not there anymore. That's sad. That village is gone. There were, for the most part, it was ramshackle kind of huts, but there were some semi-traditional structures there. But you know, if I ever go back to any of these places, of course I'm going to take my wife with me, but I also want to take some of the grandkids, because I think it would be very good for them to experience other cultures. And of course, the food, you're going to experience different food while you're there, the languages, and like in Spain, you know, the dialect changes depending on what region you're in. I'm sure the same is true in Germany. Okinawa is like really small. I think it's 61, 62 miles tip to tip, and the widest point is 5 miles, the narrowest is 1 mile. But that doesn't mean there are not linguistic differences on different parts of the island, especially areas that are or were more isolated. There used to be places that were more isolated, and people did live very traditionally. I do remember those places. The places that always bothered me were the places where people had shacks. You know, basically war material, war surplus that they that they used to build, because what else did they have? And you know, that war surplus was cheap, if not free, which free is pretty cheap, eh? But there were people who lived just like us, so most people probably lived, or a lot of them lived like us. Now, Okinawa is a modern place. Modern. You know, I doubt the poverty that existed there then exists there today. So I will be going back to Tokyo Express. Of course, the Chinese restaurant we go to every once in a while. But like I said, I was leery of going to Tokyo Express. But if you look at the reviews online, nothing but 5-star reviews. Or, well, not all 5-star reviews. Most are 5-star, 4.5 to 5-star reviews. I highly recommend Tokyo Express, Keene, New Hampshire. It's not on Main Street, but it's right off Main Street, next to the co-op. So that should give you enough information to find out where it's at. If you go to the co-op and you walk straight to Main Street, you'll walk right past it. It'll be on your right side. Great food, highly recommended. 10 out of 10 stars. How about that? You know, how do I always end my videos? Have a great day.